Hello, welcome to Durham Celebrates Recovery. September is National Recovery Month, and that means recovery from mental and substance use disorders. And SAMHSA reports that there are over 63 million people in recovery from substance use disorders, and twice that number in recovery from mental health disorders. My name is Bob Thomas. I'm the chair of Recovery Community of Durham. We are a nonprofit that works to support recovery right here in Durham, North Carolina. Today we're talking about speakers, the faces and voices of recovery, the people that are willing to share their story of how they found their pathway to recovery, how they maintain that pathway, how they take care of themselves, and why National Recovery Month is so important. First, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Addiction Professionals of North Carolina and Alliance Health, for their strong and consistent support for recovery. So without further ado, let me turn it over to Charles, our first speaker.
Hey everybody, I'm Charles, and nice to meet you. I started my journey, it was back sometime in 1988. The way in which I was introduced to recovery came through someone who watched me struggle trying to live life on, I say, life's terms. I had a family of two. I was married at the time, and I experienced a lot of trouble in my life. It seemed like I would start off on a good journey somewhere in life, and things, were somewhat positive, and then I appeared to run. It wasn't appear. The facts were I continued to run into troubles, and there was really no real answer for me. I had two, and I still have two loving parents who, just continued to say, "We're going to pray for you." And their prayer was answered one day through someone that I worked with, who saw my struggle and had made a suggestion that, I may want to talk to some professionals and to better understand what recovery is and how it could potentially benefit me. After another abrupt misstep in life, I went and sought I followed the suggestion, and I spoke to a professional, and what they suggested was to engage with people who were also part of recovery. And what that simply meant was just abstinence from using any mood or mind altering chemicals. And as a part of that abstinence, and in finding people who were struggling with situations similar to mine, I was able to, if I could say it this way, I was able to see the fog lift and kind of see exactly what it was I was dealing with and why I was struggling and had been struggling in life as much as I was. It didn't necessarily mean that, I had a fairy tale journey thus far in life. My first marriage did not go well, and it ended in divorce. But I do have two beautiful sons from that relationship. I continue to, look for opportunities to, just improve my standing in life. And that was at the suggestion or of other people who had said things like, I went back to school, or I found a career, and, got off the, staying stuck in life, and, invested the time and going to school at night. Back then, there was no online learning or distance learning, if I could say it that way. And I was able to finish college, and my opportunities in life started to improve. It didn't mean that I still didn't have challenges. It didn't mean that I still didn't have, ups and downs, but it just meant that, I was dealing with them in a much more positive way than I had previously. But it was the help of the community. It was the help of other people who had the same type of struggles that they were my support during some tough times, and in my decision-making process, and through that, I've been just, incredibly blessed. The other thing I want to say before I kind of come up to present is, my spiritual part of my life began to grow, and my commitment to serving, in a spiritual manner, grew. And I was, I was able to not only just find direction in my life, but I found purpose and meaning through that community as well. And they were very supportive of my recovery, and they did what they could to assist me. And then they also gave me opportunities to reach out and help other people who were in the same situation that I was. And I'm just, and recently I was able to reach out to some of those people and just thank them for all their direction and guidance and time. The important folks that, and I'm not saying that everyone wasn't important, but there were some specific people who were guiding me, and they gave me the support that I needed and encouragement. And I continued, on my journey in life. And so what's going on today, because of the pandemic, my social contact has been limited. Physical social contact has been limited, but my contact with other people has actually increased. This platform of Zoom, I wish I had put stock in it because it took off. But this platform has really allowed me to reach out to more people, more like-minded people, if I could say it that way. Not only focused just on recovery, but in my spiritual life as well. And I'm actually able to reach more people with words of encouragement and provide a sense of meaning, which was something that I just didn't have when I was engaged with recovery. The way I've been taking care of myself is I have not been doing a good job with the being mobile. I'm a big gym guy, and because I'm not able to go there, I'm becoming a big guy weight wise. So I have been trying to do what I can, walking 2 miles. I'm not saying that the things that I'm doing aren't positive. It's just not enough. And my body, because I've aged some, is not able to, run up and down the street. I need something soft to run on. I need a chair. I need stationary weights. Grabbing and slugging 50-pound weights around anymore. It's just not something I'm able to do. But, for the most part, with the exception of that one thing, it's been good. My sense of belonging has been good in recovery. My sense of purpose has been good. And my sense of being a spirit, and providing spiritual direction has been good. So last thing I want to talk about is why I think National Recovery Month is important. Um, I don't think personally that the message that there's an option gets out enough. And I'm grateful for National Recovery Month. It gives people who may not understand the situation or may not understand people in their lives situation, it gives them an opportunity to better understand that there is an alternative way. And there is a like-minded community, and we do support one another. And there is friendship, fellowship, and love here. So I'm grateful for the invitation, and I'm going to be quiet. Thank you.
Thanks, Charles.
Thank you.
Cerise.
No, I think I wanted to go because she was at
Laverne.
Yeah. So we'll let her
Hey
out.
everybody, I am Laverne. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Yeah, I'm Laverne, and I'm forever grateful for this opportunity to just take a brief moment and talk about why recovery is important. To take a brief moment and recognize where I've come from. To take a brief moment to appreciate the spiritual aspects that brought me to a place of forgiving myself, and what has happened for me with recovery. I like the questions that was put out about how did I develop my pathway to recovery. My pathway to recovery came through dereliction, pain, and finally breaking the chain of denial. After so much pain, I was able to see that I needed some help. After all of the lies I told myself, I was able to finally get to a place where I can say, okay, I need some help. And that is what uh, helped me to get into on this pathway of recovery. Uh, I think about what this has to offer my entire family. And one of the things that it has to offer is to break that cycle of addiction. Uh, I am a person in recovery. And with me being a person in recovery, that means that I get to expand that to my family. They get to see the change that has taken place in my life based on me just trying to do things different one day at a time, and not putting too much pressure on myself and no longer being that rebellious, defiant person who always seemed to latch out at them, and showing them a different way has given my family the opportunity to say, hey, things are different. I have my mom back. I have my sister back. Uh, I can go to her and talk about things that I can't talk to other people about because she understands. And that is what has happened with me and my family. I'm able to expose who I really am to them without being harmful, and that is what recovery has done for me and my family. Uh, some of the things that I do right now for my wellness with this, not just the pandemic that's going on, but we still have the opiate epidemic that is still taking place. So I have to maintain my wellness by showing up for my own recovery, which means I have to continue to make my doctor appointments. I continue to take my medication because not only uh, do I live with a disease of addiction, I live with depression as well. So I have to make sure that I am on point with my sleeping pattern. I have to, just as Mr. Charles talked about, walk and exercise because I'm diabetic as well. So there are so many things that I have to maintain in order for my recovery to be where I need it to be for me. I attend support groups. I stay in touch with people who, like I am, walk in the path of doing things in a different way. So I stay in a position of being teachable. I stay in a position to allow others to guide and assist me. I am amazed on how recovery has brought me from one place to the next. And sometimes I sit back and I think about it, and it is as if I was just picked up from one spot and on to the next spot. And it may seem that simple, but a lot of work took place. It's a lot of work in staying well. It takes time. It takes patience with myself. It takes patience with others. So those are some of the things I've been able to exercise. And looking at where I am today, another thing that I do with maintaining my recovery is I help others. Had no idea I'd be in a position where, like currently, I am at work. I work for a detox service. And that is the highest level of one of the highest levels of giving back from what I have taken so much from in the community. So that's some of the things that help me with my wellness. And as far as recovery month uh, awareness, man, I just don't think it'll ever be enough awareness, and I am a living example that recovery is possible. I did write some things down, but after I start talking, it just comes out. In the month of recovery awareness, it helps to break the stigma, of once an addict, always an addict. Yes, I will be an addict, but I am a recovering addict. I am a person who is living proof that recovery is possible. Things do happen, absolutely. Still have pain, still have trials, still have troubles, still have things that I want to fix, manage, and control. But at the same time, I have you guys who can help me and support me and encourage me through times where of loneliness, like now being in this pandemic, loneliness of being at home alone. My children are grown, but I am able to get on this platform and be able to say, hey, I'm not feeling it today. I'm feeling really sad. And for someone to reach out and say, it's going to be okay, let's talk about it. Some of the things that I read for meditating, one of the things I read today talked about death, right? And having to have that support and encouragement when my mind wants to go back to depression because I lost my mother at 14 years old and I didn't grieve that process until I was able to get into recovery. And being able to talk with people about that and not staying stuck in the problem, but getting to the solution is what recovery is about. So I'm real grateful for Recovery Awareness Month, because not only do it help me to recharge my recovery, but it helps me to want to give back more. I just want to give back more. And that is why Recovery Awareness Month is so important to me, because it is so many people suffering like I was that didn't know that recovery was possible, but it is. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk about it.
Thank you, Laverne. Thanks for those encouraging words. September is National Recovery Month, and one of the things that we have always tried to get across to people is that these are should be looked at as basically medical conditions for which there are medical treatments, and they shouldn't be seen any differently than any chronic but manageable illness such as diabetes or hypertension. They shouldn't have the stigma and shame associated with them. And if we can get to a point where people see it as a medical problem for which there are medical treatments, perhaps they will come out of the shadows and get into treatment sooner. So hopefully by you guys talking about your journey, you're going to make it easier for other people to decide they can do this too. So Sharice, are you now up?
Okay, my name is Sharice, and I'm truly a grateful recovery addict. And my story is not much different from anyone else. I got here by way of using drugs. It's not as if I was deprived as a child. Both of my parents were educators, and I have one sibling who's 5 years younger than me, and we had everything we needed and a lot of the things that we wanted. I think I got started simply because I wanted to fit in. I was rejected because of my weight, because of my smarts, quote unquote, because I was a smart kid. And a lot of people rejected me basically because of my weight and me being smart and me trying to fit in, wanting to be a part of. That's how I really got started. And it wasn't an easy road to trying to fit in. But needless to say, I was an addict long before I ever picked up that first drink or drug. And it just wasn't easy, I was always one of those happy-go-lucky persons, always had a smile on my face no matter what was going on, even though I fought with depression throughout my teenage years and even as an adult. But I got through it. And how I got here, it's like most people, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I was tired of the lifestyle. I had lost my son to the streets. I never lost him to the system, and that was only by the grace of God. But I lost him to the street because he started dealing drugs. And that was the last thing I wanted him to do. I lost him to gangs, and that was truly not where I wanted him to be. And when I got to the point that I just couldn't take it anymore, it's when I sought the help. And I was led to an outpatient program, and this was not my first rodeo, because I went to an inpatient program when my child was an armed baby, and I stayed clean for about a year. But because I guess I wasn't finished, and because I allowed my brother and I allowed my ex-husband to influence me, I guess that's the best way to put it, that I ended up using yet once again. And then before even coming to a 12-step program, I used, for lack of a better word, my religious beliefs to guide me. And not having the support that I have in the 12-step program, even though I had a faith-based support system, them not understanding the disease of addiction and what it was like to have those using dreams and having those using urges, they didn't quite understand what I was dealing with. And as a result, I ended up using again. But when I came into the intensive outpatient program, I found the support that I needed. And I was determined at this point, because I had what we call the gift of desperation, that I came into this program not caring about what anybody said or anyone said to me that would determine whatever happened. And I knew that if I could get past that first year in recovery, I would be okay. And I did. I got it. And as a result, as I was saying earlier, I just celebrated 10 years in recovery, which was amazing to me. It was just amazing, because I didn't think I could get past 10 minutes for a while. Recovery month for me is it should be all year round, because people need to be aware that their recovery is available. Because I look every single day and I see people on the streets, even during this pandemic, still out here begging for money and expecting you to give it. It's no longer, can I get some change? It's big money. Can you give me $2? Can you give me $3? Can I wash your windows for $1? Whatever. And it's not like I don't recognize the disease of addiction, because I do, and I actually feel kind of sorry, because some of these people know about recovery because they've been in the rooms before. And like we were told in the treatment centers, that once you know, you can't go back to not knowing. And that sticks with me. And what I also know is that when we go through the processes of whatever we did, and as I said earlier, I've lost my father, and behind him there were 4 other deaths in my immediate family. But I know that using was not an option, because it's not going to bring them back. It will exacerbate the problem even more, because it would destroy all of the work that I've done to regain the trust of my family, to gain the respect of my son, yes, yet again, but most importantly, to gain self-respect, because I have now gained my own self-respect, and my own my self-esteem has come up yet once again. So it's most important that the word does get out, that recovery is available to those that are still out there using. And how I've taken care of myself during this pandemic, one thing that I haven't done is gained any weight, because what I've done, even prior to the pandemic, I was working on my weight, and I continue to do so. I have an exercise partner that I get together with every evening. And as a result of me continuing to take care of myself, I have lost 148 pounds. I still use this, yes, I use this platform to make sure I stay connected to recovery. Because even though most addicts, and myself included, don't like change, this has been the platform that I'm able to get on to keep my recovery fresh, so that I don't forget from whence I came. And I'm truly grateful. But I do take care of myself during this recovery, during this pandemic. I stay connected on Zoom. I stay connected with my sponsor. And I do take care of myself physically as well as spiritually. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Sharice. Who's going to be our next speaker? Charles?
I can go ahead. My name's Chris, and person in long-term recovery. Thank you for the opportunity to participate in Durham Celebrates Recovery. I'd never even heard of kind of the term or concept of pathway to recovery until recently. And so in looking back at how I would describe my pathway into recovery, my pathway into recovery and my pathway to stay in recovery have been a combination of peer support, combination of clinical or professional services, and then other kind of natural supports in my environment. So I was introduced to an addiction recovery mutual aid group in 1987. I happened to be an adolescent at a time where there was a growth in recovery support groups and growth in treatment facilities and so forth. And so I was introduced both to counselors for, substance use, depression, behavioral health issues, and so forth at a pretty young age. Introduced to addiction recovery mutual aid groups at a young age, in outpatient treatment at 18, and inpatient treatment as I was turning 19. And then from there, following inpatient treatment, it was returning to those same addiction recovery mutual aid groups, as well as continuing to participate in some outpatient services. One thing that I did find was that a couple years into recovery, my depression was still present. And so I kind of engaged in counseling at that time. And then at 5 years in recovery, I started utilizing an antidepressant as a way to kind of assist and aid with the depression that's kind of been part of my life. My recovery has, before recovery, my way that my addiction impacted my family was very disruptive to them, and and it created an environment that wasn't good for my younger brother and sister, and so forth. And so where I was at one point not really welcome to be there in the house because of the disruption of my behavior. Today, those same younger siblings look at me as a brother they can depend upon, as an uncle to their sons and daughter, and it's drastically improved family relationships. I enjoyed what Charles had said about some of the unique opportunities, due to the fact of having internet access and so forth, been able to participate in Zoom meetings with people that I normally wouldn't see during kind of day-to-day recovery pre-COVID. So I've really been able to connect with people who were part of my recovery, which got established in Rhode Island in 1990. And so for my 30th anniversary in May, I was able to have, one of the men that was in recovery for 5 years when I showed up, speak and share and participate in that. And that's been a really neat way to connect with people that were part of my early recovery in a very different way. With coronavirus and with, recent reminders of racial inequity, it adds a layer of stress upon everyone. And so it certainly adds a layer of stress upon me. And, some of the ways that I've been coping with that early during the pandemic and during some of the early protests was through some photography and engaging in taking pictures as a way to have an outlet and to express myself. And more recently, it's been through kind of an increase in exercise and so forth. And National Recovery Month is one of the reasons that it's really important is that, I think we live in a time unlike any in our history where the opportunities for people to get into recovery are greater than ever before. But there's still so many people that are in need of it. And I often think of you know, the families and the communities that have been robbed of the gifts of recovery because recovery hasn't been made available, either through policies, such as we're going to incarcerate people because of addiction, or through stigma, where people don't feel that it's safe to say, I've got this problem, because they're going to be judged or they're going to be kind of alienated in their community. And we still have a long way to go for, you know, policymakers and funders to understand and recognize that, you know, individuals can and do get into recovery, and when they do, it not only benefits them, but it benefits their families and their communities. And it's really worth the investment. And I want to see more people have that opportunity, and not everyone has the same equal access to get that. So sharing about my recovery story and experience, and doing things to advocate for recovery, not just during National Recovery Month, but year round, is one of the important ways that I can try to create more opportunities for other people to find recovery. Thanks for having me. And so good to see so many familiar faces.
Thank you, Chris. Who's going to speak next? Ricona?
Hey, everybody. My name is Ricona. I am an addict. I apologize for being a couple of minutes late. I had an accident, and I had a call, urgent call to do something. But I'm going to tell you, I'm mentioning this because when I got here to Narcotics Anonymous and saw that there was hope, I became all in. So for me, there are no excuses. I did what I had to do. I'm okay. Got in the house, and thank God I was able to change and all this other stuff and do what I have to do. But I needed to find a place where this nonsense in this world, this nonsense that was in myself, that internal battle, that eternal war, that I could find some sense to it. I grew up scary, the short of it. I hated myself at the end. I couldn't stand being me. I lost all of my dignity. I lost all of myself. I felt like a shell of a human being coming here. And I thank God that a power, and please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. This is not a religious program, but there's some powerful things that go on in here that I cannot explain. And I don't even want to begin to explain, but I know it works. This power brought me to you. This power took me out of the gutter, took me out of the filth, the nastiness, brought my shameful, embarrassed, unhealthy self to y'all. A skeleton. And this is another phenomenon that, you know, this recovery process, I don't really understand, but it happens. How in God's name can my mother and my aunt, with all the love in the world, they paid money for me to go to rehabs and detoxes. I had no insurance, I didn't have a job. All the love, my mother, she enabled me, never kicked me out. She was always in my corner. I think she was the only human being on earth that had any hope for me. But she couldn't get me clean, nor could she keep me clean. It wasn't until I got around a bunch of drunks, dregs of society, crackheads, meth, all the dregs of society. It wasn't until I got placed with you guys that I began to feel hope. Now, does that make sense? How can a heroin, how can y'all help me? And y'all screwed up too. But there's some magic, there's some spiritual principles like empathy involved in there. Empathy is not just feeling someone else's pain because you've been there. It's about doing something about that pain too. So collectively, we learn to love on each other back to health. We never, I mean, listen, when I got here, it was like a magic carpet ride. Y'all did for me what I couldn't do for myself. Y'all instilled hope in me. Y'all instilled promise in me. Y'all instilled faith in me. Y'all instilled trust in me. Amazing. I went to my first convention with 4 months clean. And at the time, the theme was, the lie is dead. And for the whole weekend, I ran around trying to figure out what lie were they talking about. And it wasn't until the closing speaker when they said what Laverne said. It's once an addict, always an addict. It's not true. We do recover. We do get better. We live, no, I don't like to see we. Let me keep it on the I. I've gotten better. I'm an asset to society today. I am somebody. And those ain't just words. These are the results of the Keep Coming Back to Narcotics Anonymous program for me. My second convention I went to in November, I had about 6 months. We went out to the Bahamas convention. And it was just, oh my God. The windsurfing, the parasailing, oh my jet skis, the water, the beauty, the hugs, the loves, the laughter, the truth. There's something real powerful about the truth. You don't have to, listen, when somebody is ready for this, they are ready for this. You don't have to curtail your message for a specific reason. They will hear it. I mean, I had bliss for like my first 5 years of recovery, just bliss. It was like the Huxtables. Me and my ex, we took the kids everywhere. We exposed them to different stuff that we never did in our lives. My vacation for me was going to Reading, Pennsylvania, or Gary, Indiana when I was a kid. We did things. We started living the American. I went to the Bahamas my first 7 years in recovery. And I said, if recovery is like this, sign me up. I embarked on this precious thing called step work. I got to learn about me. I was introduced to myself through the step work process. I got a sponsor. I did most of the things y'all told me to do. Because I figured, man, once my ears start opening and I can hear, you're no longer, because I'm not no one-trick pony. At one time, you know, it's like, yo, was talking Chinese or Japanese. I couldn't hear. I tried, but I couldn't hear. But again, that power opened my ears and I started hearing English this time around when I came here in 1990. And listen, I am so grateful. I had a rough day today, very rough. I'm not saying this for anything other than to tell you that I am all in this process. I was charged with my higher power the day he took the taste of alcohol in my drugs out of my mouth to tell the truth and try to never ever say no to helping somebody. And I've done very good with that. And the results is I have some peace in my heart, my mind, my body, and my soul. And listen, let me just, everything in my life ain't 100, but it's gotten so much better. And just for today, can never predict the future, I'm all in. Just for today, I'm happy God placed me with you guys. Even amongst the madness, the unprecedented times we are in, I'm still grateful. Look at the alternative. No. I don't want to go back there. I don't want to go back there. So I would encourage anybody, if you feel no hope, please try this. If you feel despair, if you feel angry, if you feel abandoned, if you feel you're not heard, please try this. Somehow, some way, This higher power makes a way out of no way. Mighty miracles happen on a regular basis. I'm going to say this and I'm going to be quiet because I have no idea how long I'm supposed to speak. And when I get filled up with this goodness of telling the truth, I feel so much lighter. But if I am to continue this process, I need to continue to be all in to the best of my ability. And I have no excuses to show up to do what I need to do. Because part of showing up is an integrity thing. If I say I'm gonna do something, I come hell or high water, I will do it. So come on here and get you some hope. Come on here and get you some life. You can be and do anything you want to do. Clean. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ricona. Thank you for those words. Sheldon, are you still working?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Can you get in on this now?
I can get in when you get ready for me.
I'm ready for you.
Okay. Hey everybody, my name is Sheldon. I wanted to thank y'all for giving me a chance to let you know how I got into the recovery path, and give you a little bit about how I'm able to maintain, and a little bit about how I'm dealing with the COVID during this time. And at the same time, it's like, this is a good thing. I wouldn't trade it for the world. First off, how I got here is that after being using for a long time, this guy came by and told me he was going to a treatment. And I'm like, well, I didn't know what treatment was. I said, well, that's somewhere where they treat you, I guess. And he was telling me that they feed you, you get some clothes, you get a place to stay. I'm like, oh, they feed you, 'cause I was hungry. That was the only thing on my mind. But I went, you say he didn't show up, but it was some people there who gave me some experience, strength, and hope on how to live this new way of life. And I'm thankful for the people in the treatment and the people that came in, the volunteers who came, and the counselors who introduced me to what they had going on that was going to help me to be able to stay clean and maintain this recovery. They gave me a lot of suggestions, and I followed them to the best of my ability. And as a result, I seen my life getting better. I mean, I was able to move from that treatment center. They told me, you can go into a halfway house. And I was like, yeah, I'll go. Went there, stayed there 6 months. Did good, pretty good over there. Then I went to a 3/4 house. And the counselor said that he didn't want to turn me loose in the streets, right back in the streets of where I came from, without some kind of structure in my life. Some people can do it without structure. I don't know if they can. They say they have or can, maybe, but I was the one who needed that type of guidance, because I lived my life like an animal, and it was like by instinct or impulse. If I think it, I'm gonna do it. So, but having structure gave me the foundation of discipline and some sort of, even though I was powerless over what was going on with me, it gave me some kind of checks and balance. I need to be at a certain place at a certain time. I need to be in the house at a certain time. I need to eat at a certain time. Different things like that really helped me out with some sort of structure, which prepared me for when I was able to get out on my own. I could maintain my own life by the structure that was established for me in the beginning. And I've gotten used to being around the folks who were doing the same thing I was doing, and they would show me how they continue to live this way and without any type of drugs or mild altering mood substance. And it was like, okay, then you know, then they continued to give me hope that I can continue to maintain. And if they was going through something, I would listen to see what it was that I might be faced with one day, that I could call on them or rely on what they were sharing with me that could help me go through that situation. So learning through other people's experience. And the hope is that by them saying they became unemployable and maintain a job more than a couple of weeks, I said, well, that's what I want, is to be able to, get back into life again. Well, really life for the first time, real life. And it's like through their examples, I was able to follow it and be able to live like they were living. Like moving from that halfway house out to house, I moved into an apartment, and I was able to maintain my own bills and stuff I did with money that I didn't do with money before. I threw it away, and then it's like you got to be responsible so your lights don't get cut out or you don't get put out. So you got to work and you got to pay, and that was fine with me because I saw the results. Being able to be reconnected with family again was pretty good with me because I was somebody finally they could rely on. That well, we know he's coming to Thanksgiving dinner. We know that if we need something, he gonna be there. You know what I mean? And if we had family members who one was like, why ain't you come over here? You need to come here. And some said, no, you should have came over here. And I had to balance it out which one I'm gonna go visit. So they was welcoming me back. So I'm grateful that I got a chance to be back in their lives fully. And what I'm doing now for this pandemic is that I was identifying with folk who said that they were able to meet some new people through this online process, like from different parts of the world. Different people are able to get on here and talk about what's going on with them, and that's in the same situation that we are, is in this recovery process. And it's like they got a different perspective on it, and it's like, okay, I never saw it that way, and I'm able to still take and use what they were talking about and apply it to my life. And I said, well, and also with some of the people who are out of town, have been in town, that I've had opportunity to be acquainted with, but they moved out of town, but their Zoom was able for me to just reconnect with them at a push of a button. And it's good that we're able to improvise, adapt, and overcome when a pandemic like this had hit. I like to touch and to be able to hug and to see and get out and go, but we have to take care of ourselves, like folks was talking about now we master mandatory in a lot of places, but still I believe in a God that I understand that gave me an opportunity to still be employed at the same time, still come out here, still help take care of others. And it's like I'm working a job where I never dreamed that I would have a job like this. It's like it was something that uh, I can only say but for the grace that I'm able to work in the operating room, do different things. A street person like me. So it's like always amazing that what can happen in the recovery process if I keep on coming back and showing up and doing the work and stay connected and give back what was so freely given to me. And the only thing I have in my experience, strength and hope, that somebody out there that may be struggling and need to be able to live a different way of life, there's help available, because it sure did help me. And I don't know if I've said or shared what I need to share, but that's about all I have. I'm just thankful for somebody gave me an opportunity to be able to make this presentation. Life is really, thank you.
Thank you, Sheldon.
Sheldon.
Thank you. We're coming up on time, but we've got 2 more speakers. So Zachary, take it away.
I'm recovering addict. My name is Zachary. Glad to be here. Glad to be alive. And I want to thank the committee for inviting me. I don't know how or who threw me to the wolves. I think it was Steve, but I love him anyway. All right. Okay. So I never know what's going to come up and come out. You know what I'm saying? And if I get a real emotional about even being asked to do anything today. I always remember back where I came from, and like they didn't talk recovery where I came from, y'all. That wasn't what nobody was talking about. No rehabs. Nobody was talking that. They was talking some stuff, man. That was horrible, man. The only thing I could remember, man, was like who got it the night before. You know what I'm saying? And my pathway to recovery, man. Thank God for desperation. Thank God for a little girl that loved her daddy, man, that came and found him and asked him if he wanted some help. And, when I read the question about pathway, man, wow, it was a lot of crooked roads, man. It was a lot of rough nights, and, man, made it to recovery. Thank God, I went to a party when I was like 15. I didn't get home till I was 47, y'all. And I didn't know what was going to happen. Today, man, it's like, hey, it's been a long road, man. Recovery is great, One of the first things that I learned in recovery is I don't have to understand it for it to work for me. All I have to do is follow directions. And I've been following directions since I got here. You know what I'm saying? They said some things to me when I first got here. They said, do the right thing for the right reason, so the right thing could happen. I said, huh? I said, now I know how to do the wrong thing, hoping the right thing happen. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't never tried that other way. And they started to give me some simple directions, like make a meeting, talk about how you feel, and don't use no matter what, And things begin to change. I begin to apply some principles to my life, All right. Now I had some principles before I got here. Now I'm not saying that they were the right principles, but they were principles of me, no matter what. All right. And I live by them, man. You know what I'm saying? And one of the principles was I bought what I want and I begged for what I need. And Sarisa talked about that. I would have been on the streets panhandling, all right? And we got enough to get one more. Even though I was hungry, I couldn't go in the store and eat. I have a disease that tells me I'm good when I'm bad and I'm bad when I'm good. It twists itself in my mind, all right? But I thank God for recovery today. I thank God for the principles of the program of Narcotics Anonymous and applying them to my life, y'all. Because like a few weeks ago, I was threatened by someone, and I'm gonna tell you, when I was threatened, I went like, huh? But I was able, because I lived different today, I was able to walk away without saying anything. You know what I'm saying? Because see, my disease doesn't manifest itself all the time in a bag of dope. Okay, or to get one more, but it does come out in my behaviors. Okay, And I'm gonna tell you, I thought about it for a minute. I said, man, let me show you who I really am. But thank God I live different today. And I live by some principles and the program of Narcotics Anonymous. And I was able to let that thought die a natural death instead of me going down there and putting a clown suit on. And I don't know about anybody else, but I call a clown suit that orange suit, all right? Not only have I been in recovery, man, and like I'm starting to live different, but I ain't been to jail, man. I mean, jail had become a regular routine for me. It had gotten so bad for me when the police showed up, man, I stopped running. I didn't give them no fictitious names. I just went over and I assumed the position because I knew that when they ran my name, I was going away, you know? And today I don't have to do that, man. You know, today, you know, things have changed. I'm learning how to take care of myself, man. I got life insurance. I got health insurance. You know, I'm on vacation, okay? You know, those things were foreign to me before I got to recovery, all right? And, you know, today, man, like I'm paying child support. I'm so happy. Listen, I get high when I pay the cable bill, all right? You know what I'm saying? Listen, some things have changed in my life where like, listen, I can come in and turn the lights on today, you know? Like those kind of things are different for me, yo, all right? It's been some years later, but I haven't forgotten how that was, all right? You know, man, during this pandemic, man, I seen it when it first started happening, man. I was like, well, what happened was they called us up and said, listen, you can't come to the church anymore. You can't come to this facility because of what's going on with the pandemic. And I was like, well, what are we going to do? Some people was like, oh, we bad. We're going to meet in the park. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to meet here. I was like, I'm not doing that. You know, that don't sound too healthy. And I was on a call meeting in the morning, and the young lady said something about Zoom. I had never even heard of Zoom. I was like, what's that? And she told me about Zoom. And then they told me about the 24-hour marathon meeting, man. And I knew right away, light bulb went off. Get involved, okay? Get involved, start a meeting. You know what I'm saying? Stay connected. You know what I'm saying? Because I needed that. All right. You know, man, and that's what I did. You know, I maintain a spiritual program today. I work on it on a daily basis. I get up in the morning, I read my meditation. I plan what meeting I'm going to go to. All right. I talk to recovering addicts, young and old. Okay. Struggling. So I want to close with this, right? I want to close with two things. The first thing is this, you know, I got a call the other day. I got a call from my daughter. And she said, Daddy, somebody that she was involved with offered her an edible, you know? And I was like, I've heard of those before, you know? And she said that she was real paranoid and she had never did it before. But here's a young lady that had gotten me into recovery, you know, and I went to her aid, all right? And by going to her aid, those are the kind of things like how have this recovery affected my life, my family, you know what I'm saying? Like for her to call me instead of her mother, okay? She called her dad, all right? And I was able to show up, okay? In the past, I couldn't do things like that. She would have never been able to find me, all right? You know, and Sheldon had talked about being accountable today. Accountable not only to myself and my family, but also to my community, all right? So I don't know how big y'all are on having fun in recovery, but I have a ball. Listen, recovering addicts have the best lives, y'all, okay? Let me tell you that right now. We go to the best places, okay? We take the best vacations, all right? We eat the best foods. We wear the best clothes. We drive the best cars. I'm telling you, it's something about recovering addicts. When you see them, they really shine, man, okay? I love it. I mean, I love it. I be like, yo, if you can do it, I can do it too, you know? And the other day, man, the guy told me the best joke I heard in a long time. Okay, so I want to share it with y'all. Okay, it's a clean joke. It's a clean joke. Okay, it was a guy that had a store. Okay, and in this store, he was selling used brains. Okay, so a guy came into the store and he was looking around. And he saw a brain over on the counter. And he says to the guy, he says, hey, how much is that brain on the counter over there? He says, oh, that brain right there, that's a $500,000 brain right there. That belonged to a lawyer. He said, oh, okay. So he looked around a little bit more. He saw a little bigger brain over on the other counter. He said, hey, well, how much is that brain over there? He said, oh, that brain over there, that brain is $1 million, okay? He said, that brain belonged to a surgeon. He said, oh, wow, okay. So he looked around some more, and he seen a little brain over in the corner. And he looked at the guy and said, well, how much is the little brain over there in the corner? He said, oh, that brain is $5 million. He said, well, why is that brain $5 million? He said, that brain belonged to an addict and it's barely used. So I don't know if y'all like that or not, but I liked it. Look, recovery is fun. Recovery is the best thing that ever happened to me in my life, man. You know what I'm saying? And like some other people have said, I'm all in, man. I'm a proud card-carrying member of Narcotics Anonymous, man. I have fun in recovery, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm no longer slave to the disease of addiction, you know? And man, I love it, man. I love freedom, y'all. I don't know about nobody else, man. I want more of this. So thank you for letting me share. Thank you for inviting me. Rob, thank you very much. All right, and I'm done. Thank you all.
Thank you, Zach. I really like that joke. That was a good one. So, Miss West, we saved you for the best. Take us out.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cynthia, and I am a person in long-term recovery. And what that means for me is that I have not found it necessary in 22 years to use a mind, mood altering substance. And for that, I am truly, truly grateful. You know, first of all, I want to thank this body, the Durham Recovery Body, for asking me to be a part of this panel. I want to thank my peers for sharing the message of hope, because that's what it's all about, giving a message of hope. And HELP for me has an acronym, which means HOPE, hearing other people's experience. And I am really, really grateful to be a part of that and to be able to let someone know that no matter what's going on or where you are, there is hope, that one day you will not find it necessary to use it well. I like to what Chris was saying in reference to the pathway of recovery, because I hadn't really thought about it until I really, really heard everyone sharing on what they were saying. And, you know, what I would like to say is that after a long time, after using for a long, long time, I find myself having no hope, no dreams, and no aspirations. You know, the disease of addiction, and first I need to say that I did not know that I had a disease. I truly thought that I had a moral deficiency, you know, that something was just wrong with me. And how grateful I was to find out, you know, that I did have a disease, and how I was able to find out that information. I met this young lady, and we were just talking in general, and she began to tell me about things about her life, and I shared some things with me to her as well. And what she said to me was that you never have to use again, you know. And I need to say that I didn't believe her, because I had been using substances for so long, you know. But I knew that because I had no hope, that there was no way that I could possibly live without the use of drugs. But what I found out from this woman, that, you know, recovery, you know, is an active change in my attitude and thinking and behaviors, and what that comes in three folds. That's mental, spiritual, and physical. And that breaks down and with the hope, the aspirations, and the dreams. You know, so by putting all those things together, I was real grateful to find out that I was able to achieve abstinence. And so it could give me a better quality of health, you know, wellness, and, you know, the ability to do something different in my life. So I was real grateful that I found that. But not only that, I need to say for someone that's out there that there were some things that had transpired in my life. So not only have I recovered from substance use, I need to tell you I've recovered from sexual trauma as a child, because you too can recover from that as well. And I think that's real important, you know, that people to know, because sometimes we run on certain things that has led us to believe certain thoughts, led us to certain thoughts. So I'm real, real grateful to know that the longer I allowed other people's information to become my information, I began to have some hope in my life that I never have to use again. And that's what I hope for the people that are out there as well, that have been finding it difficult to do so. You know, and I know that it can happen if you continue to do what it does, you know. So how has recovery affected my family? What I need to say is that, you know, we have this saying in this group that I attend, nobody wanted to see me coming. You know, my family, no, ain't nobody looking for me for breakfast, lunch, dinner, nobody. She don't, none of that, right? And as a result today of changing my attitude, thinking, and behaviors, I need to say that I take care of my mother. My mother has, excuse me, Alzheimer's. I need to also say that I take care of my sister. My sister has Parkinson's and dementia. I need to say that I take care of my children. My sons have been diagnosed with MS. And I need to say, going back to self-care and taking care of me, I've been diagnosed with severe rheumatoid arthritis, and none of that has led me to make a conscious decision to find some type of substance to change the way that I feel. Because what I was able to get in touch with is that not so much that I want to use a drug, I wanted to change the way that I feel. And by doing the work and allowing other people's information to help me, it led me to find out that I can find a new way to live. And self-care is so important. You know, one of the blessings and the gifts that I've achieved in these 22 years is that I have gone back to school and that I have gotten degrees and things of that nature in order to better myself. Because again, I go back to them hopes, dreams, and aspirations. I had none. And by achieving those things, I found myself sometimes can be overwhelming, just overwhelming with a whole lot of stuff. So learning how to stop doing what I was doing just for a moment, just in order to take care of myself, because just because I'm in recovery, it doesn't mean that I got everything right. My attitude and thinking can still be warped if I don't monitor what it is I am putting in my spirit. So learning how to take care of myself has become very important. I found myself with people, I call them like-minded people. People that are trying to do the same thing that I'm trying to do. Maintain a certain type of thinking, a certain type of behavior, and a certain type of spirituality in order to not only motivate myself and to motivate others. So taking care of me has been so important, because in active addiction, I was taking care of me in a selfish manner. I was killing me day by day, you know, and learning how to take care of me is become one of the most important, vital things that I've done for myself. And I'm real grateful to do that. Thinking about COVID, I need to say that I have been fortunate and blessed to have obtained a job, but also due to my disorder, I haven't worked since March. You know, so I'm blessed to have a job that I've been able to still maintain and keep, because so many people have lost their jobs due to COVID, you know. But one of the things, even though I'm speaking in terms of self-care, this pandemic has found me isolating sometimes. You know, I can find myself isolating, being okay by myself, because the past few years I've just been running. So I've learned how to slow down, take it easy, monitor my thoughts, look at what I'm doing, try to find out which direction I need to go based on where I have been, you know. So I'm real grateful, not for the situation itself, but I'm glad that something guided me to find the true self in me so that I can do the things that I truly need to do. Because recovery, if you do it the way it's being done, I heard Mr. Zach say, you will find yourself going, trying to get. But then there comes a point that I had to slow down, you know, so I'm real grateful. And when we think about Recovery Month, National Recovery Month, I mean, recovery is awesome. You know, we have this thing in this meeting that I attend sometimes with these group of people. They say, this is the best I've ever lived, the best that I've ever lived. You know, and what I mean by that is that, and I'm not talking about physical things. I'm talking about spiritual things. And what I mean by spiritual, I'm talking about just being kind, caring, compassionate, empathy, love, trust, hope, faith, integrity, compassion. All those things is what we've been afforded and awarded. And that's the reason why I honor National Recovery Month, because I too want to let somebody know that no matter what, no matter who, no matter where, all those no hopes, no dreams and aspirations can become faith, hope, and love. Thank you all. Please be good to yourselves. Take care of yourself and wear your PPEs, please. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Lovely, great
Thank you,
job.
Cynthia. Okay, Charles, we need to hear from Charles before we end. Charles?
He's no longer in the meeting, I don't
He's
believe.
Mike.
Yes, he is. He's Mike.
It's
Oh,
Mike.
he's Mike.
I'm Michael Anatic. It's Michael, Bob.
Oh, Michael, I'm sorry.
All right, no problem. I'd like to thank everybody who spoke. I really got out of something out of everyone, really, everyone. You know, I was listening to some of the stories and I thought about, you know, I came in here with a set of keys in my pocket. I had, you know, I would carry some keys with me and none of the keys opened anything. You know what I mean? They were all places that I got put out of or, but I never could give them, I never would throw them away. And you know, I got here this time, I couldn't do it anymore. I heard someone say in the rooms also that they got here the day before they died. And I didn't get that at 2 or 3 years clean. And spiritually, I understand it. I could not continue another day. I could not continue another day. I went in and got some help. And I don't really have a hard time reaching out to people and listening to people and people that I don't really have a personality. I might have a personality conflict, but I listen to everyone, okay? And I don't have a problem struggling because I want and have continued to want to stay clean. I've stayed long enough to like this way of life. You know what I mean? I'm not on the fence anymore about do I want to stay clean or not stay clean. This is, you know, it's like everybody said, I got a piece of what everybody says. You know, this is the best I've ever lived. And, you know, like Zach said, the piece between your ears is really what thrives me, not what I can drive or not what I can wear. You know what I mean? But, do you know the relief that it is to wake up in the morning and it never even crosses your mind for years is a hit of dope? The first thing in the morning, my mind is on urinating and brushing my teeth and taking a shower or getting something to eat. It never has crossed my mind. Do you know the relief of that just in itself? Just that first one, the wake up gets you running all freaking day. Okay. And it's so powerful. I heard someone talk about children and how family gets into your life. You know, I never had the talk with the children about I'll never do it again. I never had that conversation. I knew God had forgiven me and I had forgiven myself. And so I let the Christians be the Christians, okay? And then one day, 4 or 5 years clean, my daughter would come to me and say, hey, Dad, will you take this $400 and go pay my rent because I got to run to school? Or, Dad, will you keep my laptop in the car because I got to go over so-and-so's house? But there were no words exchanged. You know, it was just the behavior that they saw in me, even before I saw it in myself. Who's going to give you $400? Are you serious? Okay. Really? Okay. You know what I mean? And as things went on, you know, and family is a balancing act because I am caring and I'm not a taker anymore. You know, we read the 7 Tradition last night. You know, I'm not a taker anymore. You know what I mean? And not just for family, you know, for people I don't know. And I see somebody standing out there, you didn't got to ask me for $2, but I know you need it. You know what I mean? But that's a balancing act because sometimes people will take my kindness for weakness. you know. And then once you say no, you know who you are then, right? You know what they call you then. But it is what it is. So I like this way of life, and I just for the day, you know what I mean. When people ask me to do anything, you know, I don't know if that was accurate, but when people ask me to do anything, man, you know, I go up here like, really? There's thousands of people. Why are you gonna ask me? Like, what do you see in me? You know what I mean? And I still got that, you know. And like somebody said, I'm not as bad as I think I am, and I'm not as good as I think I am. You know what I mean? And that keeps me kind of, you know, don't get my head too big, you know. So, the pandemic. When I heard pandemic, I'm like, what's the pan? You know, the pandemic to me in the beginning was just like the dope. It won't happen to me. I won't get addicted, okay? I'm too vain to cover my face, okay? I'm too cute. I don't cover my face. What? No mask. Then I started looking at the numbers on CNN. They start going up and up and up and up and up. I'm like, really? People are really dying from this, you know? So I start wearing a mask. And then it's an everyday, it's just like anything else. It's a, you know, what is it? What do we do? 90 days, it becomes a part. Okay, yeah. So I wear a mask now. And not only to protect me from you, but you from me. You know what I mean? And I'm not mad at, it's like people don't do Zoom, I ain't mad at you. People don't come to meetings, I ain't mad at you. Okay? You don't want to wear a mask, I ain't mad at you. I'm just gonna wear one. You know what I mean? You ain't coming to my house, but I'm gonna wear one, you know. And I've taken lemons and made lemonade. It's just a bump in the road, you just keep going. You know, I'm not gonna do anything stupid, I'm gonna be smart, do the hands, the gloves, or whatever you need to be. You know, I also know that, listen, some of the things that I've been through in my life, there's nothing but the power of God that I'm standing here. And like we lost a guy named Mercy, who always used to say that he was one of the chosen, okay? When I think about where I've been, who I've been with, who is no longer here before they even got to recovery, the bullets that went this way instead of went this way, you know, I'm one of the chosen, okay? I don't take that for granted. I'm a grandfather today. And I heard people share in the rooms that some of their children, some of their grandchildren have never seen them under the influence of anything. And I'm one of those now. I can say that now. I can say that. Recovery month. To me, recovery month is for people to see us and to understand that there are people in recovery. You know, there are recovering addicts, that there is a God. You know what I mean? And that we're giving back to the community, and that not only can I get clean, but your niece and your son and your cousin and your daughter can get clean. There's no more excuses. You know what I mean? And so it's a good thing. But you know, I also have to understand that my responsibility for me, before any of these wonderful things happen, is that day by day I must do what I need to do. You know what I mean? To stay where I am. And oh my God, it just gives you, you know, it's what Ricona said, it's like a transformation. You know what I mean? It's like, I've gone from a mouse, you know what I mean? No courage. You know, when you steal from people that are from 2 to 62 to get dope, when the things that I did, you know, that's not courage, that's not a man. And to go from there, you know, I mean, let me give you one example. You know, it's like sitting in the back of the room when you first come to a meeting, right? And then, and if you didn't do it, you see it in other people. They sit as far back in the back as they could. And then the next 2 months, they're halfway up the front, okay? And then the next 2 months, they're in the front. And before you know it, you walk in one day and they're chairing the meeting. You're like, damn, yeah, what happens? You know what I mean? It's something in the spirit, man. And it just, oh my God, damn, I'm sounding like Sharice now, I'm sorry. God is so good. That's all I got. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Oh my God, I started preaching.
Okay, thank you so much for all those words of hope and wisdom. Thanks for participating in National Recovery Month. Give yourself a hand.
Thank you, Robert. Really appreciate it.
Robert,
Bye.
Hey,
Robert, did Miss Branch speak?
Oh, Ramona, you're back? You're here? You're speaking?
No, I'm actually not. I was just co-hosting, and I think all of the stories were wonderful today. I don't have anything to add. I thought they were all great.
all right, Miss
All right, well,
Cynthia,
thanks
I
so
want to
much.
take this time to, Miss Cynthia, can you call me? I need to use you on my speaking engagement on the international, all right?
Cynthia is great. You're all great. You are all wonderful. Thank you so much for participating. Take
Bye, you
care.
got my
All right.
Thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate that. I love you all. Take care.
Hey, you
All
too,
right,
Thank
take
you,
care.
Ricona.
everyone.
safe.
This was amazing, and I
Hey.
appreciate being able to reconnect with a lot of faces I hadn't seen in a while. So thank
Yeah.
you all for your strength.
Yeah, Laverne, good to see you. Hey, can I leave y'all with a story real quick about me and Ricona? So me and Ricona did service work together, right? And we were doing programming. And I remember that first year we did programming together. He would come by and he would pick me up and we'd go to programming. And every night he would call me, he said, yo, do you need a ride to the programming meeting? And that first year I was like, yeah, can you please pick me up? And he picked me up faithfully that year, right? That next year we were on programming again, okay? So he looks at me, we made the first programming meeting, and he looked at me, he said, do you need a ride? Do you need a ride, Zach? I said, no, Ricona, your prayers have been answered. I got a car.
True story.
He must have been going home praying every night.
Thank you all.
Bye now.
Thank you all.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
guys.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, guys.
Love
All
y'all.
right. Okay.